D'Amico's been great. He's got a good demeanor. Players love him. Just how he carries himself, um, especially having the respect of just what he did in his career. And he's a very humble guy who is still trying to learn, and he's ready to be in the role he's in, but he's not satisfied with that. He's always trying to ask questions and do stuff each day, and I think he'll get better as it goes.
Younger guys in his room. I know you probably don't spend a lot of time in the linebacker room. Do you see that developing with the Ruben Fosters, the Fred Warners on this team?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's the whole. It's not always just the coach, but it's that whole room. They all kind of feed off each other, and they all work. They all challenge each other. We got a good group. I think there's seven of them inside linebackers we got right now, and all seven of them are NFL players, and they all work. They all challenge each other. But they all know there's some real competition there too. You can't have seven inside linebackers on a roster, so it's a good room, and I think that starts with the leader of the room, which is the coach and D'Amico, and but they grind every day, and I think they all like each other too.
Seen some reps, especially yesterday, split with Malcolm Smith in the first team. Can you talk a little bit about that competition there between those two?
Yeah, I don't know if they're, I don't know if like I don't even know some of those things because it's not, we don't look into first team, second team, third team too much now. I know you're not going to see many ones on going with the threes and stuff, so that's not 100% accurate, but we're just getting guys in their reps. Malcolm came back from an injury that he had last week, his first day back, so you want to limit guys, not keep guys out there too long. We've been down at the position with, guys like Brock not being able to practice, so I want to look into too much of that stuff, but and the competition is real, not just with them two, but with all seven of them.
Is that accurate?
Yes. We started out that way, and I think Dante can handle it, but we also have slowed it down a little bit because you don't want to be okay at a bunch of things. You'd like to get really good at one thing, then get good at the next thing. And I think that's the neat thing with Dante that he's got the ability to help us out in a number of different areas. We have three different receiver positions, and he has this skill set to where he's not the fastest guy on our team, but he can run, and he's not the quickest guy on our team, but he is very quick, and he's got good hands, and he's not big, but he's not small either. So you can use him in a bunch of different spots, and we got to throw him at that because it can get very confusing. But he's a very smart guy, and he's taking the challenge well.
Is he, I don't know if this comparison is completely apt, but is he almost your offensive version of Jimmy Ward, given that he could be your number two guy at all spots?
Yeah, kind of. And it's the receiver. Everyone uses receivers differently, and we try to use guys' skill sets all over the spot for how different we can use those guys. And but injuries happen, rotations happen. You leave a receiver out there all game. Guys get tired and their routes aren't as well. They stop blocking. They don't become a part of the run game. When you only get five, sometimes six up on game day. You get one injury down. Who's up? Well, that sixth guy was up or the fifth guy because of just special teams. Now he's got to come in and, now he's got to play. Let's say Marquise went out. Was he fast? All right, we can't run any of the plays that we practice. He's not. So you lose a whole game plan. So it's just nice when you have guys who can do different things that you aren't handcuffed in a game. That's how it's similar to how Aldrick Robinson's been for us. He's fast enough to do some of that stuff, but he also can do the things that other guys do, which just allows you to overcome. If we could dress 15 people, receivers every game, none of that stuff would matter. But it's what you get up on game day and how to get through a game.
Does your offensive playbook evolve now that you're in the second year, and how steep is the learning curve in installing some new things?
Not much. I don't think it evolves based off of what you're going against and how people defend it. There's a foundation and to everyone's scheme and how you teach people and the verbiage and how you try to move all the chess pieces together and attack things. And you adjust when you make defenses adjust. We feel we've had an offense that's been through, we've done it through a lot of years and we've been through a lot of different situations to where, we feel within the foundation you can run the ball, you can drop back and throw, you can do screens, you can do bootlegs, you can do play action. We could do zone read if we wanted to. We have the ability to do everything verbiage-wise and how to move those guys. And then it's just about getting good at it, knowing why you do stuff, and making teams stop stuff. And when you see defenses start to adjust, it opens up other stuff, and that's where ideas come in, and that usually comes through game plans throughout the year and things like that.
How Were you uh, were you happy with yesterday's practice? I know early in the session it seemed like there were some pre-snap issues.
That's if I was the just offensive coordinator, I've been very upset. But fortunately, I'm the head coach, so I was happy with the defense yesterday. So I was halfway happy. I thought the defense had a real good day. I thought the offense, we came out just sluggish. We couldn't get the cadence right. And we started practice that way. I think it was like 4 out of the first plays. We just messed up the cadence. And then it's kind of a trickle-down effect from there. So that was disappointing. It's not fun, but it's how you look at it. I think that stuff kind of can help too. I thought it was our worst practice offensively that we've had this year. And I thought it was just from a mental lapse of just not paying attention to the snap count. And guys can see how that trickles down and kind of ruins an entire practice. And defense took advantage of it, and we'll see how they respond today.
You guys kind of did some work after practice, like Jimmy kept the offense.
That's what they did, yeah. Yeah, which is cool to see. It's always nice when you don't demand anything. You hope it's their standard, not ours. Because like I say, that's really what makes it real. And I think those guys worked as hard as they could yesterday. It wasn't a lack of effort, but we weren't good on the cadence. And so you want to ask why, and maybe it's because there's 2 more days of school left, and we had 4 days off right before the last 2 days of school, and they came out and worked hard, but they weren't totally locked in, and it showed. And what I like is we got guys that it bothers. You don't have to sit out there and MF them and stuff. It bothers them, just like it bothers us. And when things bother people, you usually fix it, and that's what I think our guys stayed out and tried to do yesterday.
That you just said, being the head coach, if the offense does something wrong, at least you could take solace in the fact that maybe it was because the defense did something right. How hard has it been to adjust to that kind of way of thinking over your first year plus, to where now you're not just caring about the offense, now you kind of have to balance,
It hasn't been that hard, just because that's just the reality of the situation. It's been funny, like people I've worked with before, stuff that I complained my whole life, like, oh, why won't this head coach give us more reps? He's scared of people that are going to get hurt. We need this practice on offense, and I was the guy fighting for everything, and now I'm canceling reps. I don't want to get someone hurt. I'm thinking about the big picture. I'm not thinking about the scheme or something all the time. And then some of my offense coaches will get annoyed with me that I've changed, and it's you think differently in different roles, and it's you can't win without a defense, and the defense can't win without an offense, and neither of them can do good without special teams. So it really doesn't matter. It's just football nonstop. And just when you go on 1, you go on 2, you go on the quick count. We have 100 different cadences, and we got a lot of different calls and a lot of other stuff that are extremely confusing. And when you're thinking about everything else and not thinking about the cadence, you just jump off sides.
So you made the big commitment to Jimmy. Do you want to see him kind of dominate a June practice? Does that matter to you, personality-wise or just playing-wise? Is it a difference when he's the guy?
Like I don't really go out there and, man, we dominated today. We're good. Sometimes it looks like he dominated, but it was because 3 rookies out there didn't know their coverage and they busted, and people are just running wide open, and it just seems cool. But it's not. You didn't really do that good. So I don't ever really get too involved into that stuff. It's just about each play individually, and do we execute it? Why didn't we? Do we get better from it? It's just trying to prepare yourself for real football, and so you don't get too caught up in that stuff, because that's fun and that's competition, which we all have, and we're all extremely competitive. But that's not Sunday. So what I like to see in Jimmy is just go through situations. I like seeing him make mistakes. I like seeing him come in, work on it. And I like seeing him when we get them in that same situation, same coverages, same looks. I like seeing him correct what he messed up 2 days ago. He felt the mistake. He understood why it was wrong. And then he wants to correct it himself, not, hey, that's wrong, do it this way. And I want him to understand it. So sometimes when things don't work out, you learn. And you got to know the whys, and that's what allows you, to me, to have continued success over time.
The cadence says, how much is it just assume that, okay, Jimmy, get this right with your guys?
A little bit, but I think it starts with the coaches. I don't think we emphasize it enough. If the players aren't worried that much about it, I think it starts with us scaring them and making it, we're going to get what we emphasize. We didn't emphasize the snap count for a few days, and players forgot about it. They got a little sloppy with it. It fell apart. We have responsibility for that too. We emphasized it hard yesterday after practice. We have this morning. I bet it'll be better today. So whose fault is that? No, it's all of ours. That we're doing it together, and but it's a reminder for everyone. football never stops. They're always working.
You both have talked, this spring about learning the hows and whys of the offense. How did that process go, kind of relearning the playbook from scratch? And
I think it's been real good. Just you can see it sometimes click with him. Like we've been asking him to do something for a while, and he's been doing it. And then, I get it. That's pretty important. Like I thought it was just coach talk for the 100 clips that we've done, but I just had the 101, and I would have gotten killed if I didn't. And it's stuff like that's why you like when guys mess up and they get to feel why they did without getting injured like they would on Sunday if it happened. You like to see that in practice, be like, hey, remember, and be like, oh man, I don't want that to happen on Sunday. And then they understand and they get it corrected in practice, and something you have to talk about again.
Yeah, in 2012 when you kind of made the zone read kind of your base offense, and obviously they did that here, and it was wildly successful. Do you think that as a base offense can ever have that type of success again, or have defensive coordinators, figured it out?
No, there isn't anything to figure out. It's a very sound scheme. It's how do you want to attack it? What do you want to do off of it? When they 100% commit to stop it, which you can, but that opens up everything else. So what do you do to scare them out of everything else? Is your quarterback good enough at running with the football to make them commit to stop it? And once they do, is he good enough to make the passes that he has to that they just opened up? And if he is, that's a huge issue. It's tough to find always that guy. And if you don't protect him right and you don't do the right stuff, it is tough to stay healthy. People talk about that 2012 year, but our running game was 70% outside zone. It was 1/3 zone read, but everyone was scared of it. So they played for it every play, which is why Alfred Morris led the league in rushing, or I think he was like second or third. But it was because of the threat of zone read, which allows you to do a ton of other stuff. That doesn't mean you have to, it's not your base offense, but if you're in pistol or shotgun, you can run it at any time. And defenses have been playing 11 against 10 for so long, and now all of a sudden you have to play 11 on 11, and if you're not, that changes everything you do. So it's not that they've caught up. You just need the right people, the right commitment. You have to stay healthy, and you got to have a whole package together. It's not, we're just running zone read. Well, they'll stop that. What are you doing off of it?
Like a person to be, I've noticed he's been a guard and center. Is he a legitimate candidate to be in that guard competition, or is he kind of a utility?
Well, and we'll see how camp plays out. We brought him in here because we want to add to our depth and competition. We have lots of guys in and out. They're not all healthy right now. Again, I don't even know who went with the ones or twos yesterday. I'm sure it was mixed in both. If you play in our inside and you're not a starting player, you got to work all three of those spots because you only get so many up on game day. So if you're not a starting player, you need to play both positions at guard. You got to be able to snap, and so we work a lot of different people for those situations because you have 16 linemen, you usually keep 8. How's that going to play out? And it's not always who are the 8 best blockers. It's who are the 8 guys that can build a team to where you can use those 5 guys and get through a season no matter what injuries happen.
Why didn't Marquise practice?
His back was sore from last week, and it was still stiff just over the weekend when he came in. And I'm sure Marquise easily would have pushed through it and been out there. To me, if it was regular season or anything, but just at this time, it's not worth it, and we're not going to go today either.
Side expectations of your team. At this point for you, are your expectations different in terms of just how you view what would be a successful off-season program, like as you sit here right now compared to last year?
Yeah, I don't get too caught up in expectations. As coaches and players you work, when it comes down to it, you expect to win every game, and we all know we're not going to, for the most part. Someday someone will, but that's how you think. But expectations to we put a lot of work in a year. We've gone through a lot of things. We've changed the roster over a ton. We've been together as a coaching staff more. We go through this every single day, and what I'm happy with when I look out on the field at our players, when I look at our coaches, we're better. We're deeper, we're faster, we move together, our 11 guys better together, and that should happen. We've done it longer. We've had more time to build the personnel, but it's been a year and a half. We plan to do this every single year, but does that mean that your record changes? Well, football games are hard. You gotta win those at the end. You gotta protect the ball. You can't turn it over. You can't have penalties. Injuries change everything. Yeah, we'll deal with that when it comes. But I know we're better, and that's what I'm excited about, and that's what I always want to make sure we're doing. I always say it, so it can be annoying, but you're getting better or worse. You never stay the same.
Greg Reed at the possibility. Is it still open at this point? Have you guys been in contact at all with his representative? Where do things stand on this?
Our door is always open to add good football players. I think that was hard with us when we decided, we had to make a tough decision on where we wanted to go with our safety position, and we went with Tart. And just with age, with where we were at, that we knew we had him. And the fact that we were able to renegotiate and get him on a new contract too helped. But 90 people in camp. Yeah, if he wanted to come and compete and do that stuff, that would be great. But there's other stuff that play into it with trying to get a contract done and things like that. And I'm sure Eric has higher expectations than that too. Those 5 games are pretty good. So that's what's, I don't know. He didn't know as much then. So if maybe we're going to mess him up by teaching him more, so I'm just joking with that. But you never, those 5 games, things went very well. There's a number of times that maybe it should have been a pick, but Marquis stepped back to the ball and made a play. So we never worried about that one. There's a couple times our defense made some plays. There's, in Chicago, we moved the ball very well. We didn't get in the end zone once. There's things that, as everyone knows what they're doing, of course, we're going to be better. We got to go out and do it. I think that's a question. Oh, man, how are we going to look now that Jimmy has an offseason and knows that, well, he did look pretty good last year, and he's going to be much more comfortable in there and know a lot more what he's doing, and guys are going to be able to play together and understand situations better. Does that mean, if he was the number one those last 5 weeks, I don't know how much big of a jump you guys are going to see, but you are better. And that's what when you talk about expectations and stuff, I don't know how you live up to that. He did very good last year, the offense did. So if you had 400 yards a game, does that mean we have to have 600 for these first 5 games to improve? I don't know what the numbers will be. I think we'll be a better offense. So I feel pretty confident in that.
What did you see from Malcolm Smith and Ruben Foster together yesterday?
It's just good to have them both out there together. Those were 2 guys I really wanted to see play together last year. We lost Malcolm early in training camp. Malcolm's great. He knows the scheme very well. He's very smart. He's an extremely hard player to go against, especially in the pass game. And they both feed off each other very well. Malcolm is very controlled and has a lot of experience. And Ruben, I always tell him he's like the water boy out there. He's just flying around ready to hit someone. And they balance each other out very well. So I think it's a good tandem.
Off that player that I've kept my eye on these last couple practices, it's been the rookie Fred Warner. Back at BYU, sort of a flash where he had to cover slot receivers. Has that translated at all into the practice field here with the Niners?
Yeah, they use him basically as a nickel back because there's very few 2-back offenses in college. So there's always one back, and he was the outside linebacker, which ends up playing very similar to the position K-Wan plays. And that's where you could see his athletic ability. He was very quick, good in space, instinctive. We're getting him. We saw a few reps of him inside when he played. I think they played Georgia Tech and stuff. So the scheme's different, so you get to see him in some different spots. But it's tough when you don't get to see a lot of that, and that's how a lot of positions are around the league. So you got to go with this skill set. You got to meet the guy, see what he can handle from a mental standpoint. And Fred was very detailed and didn't bust, instinctive, and we've moved him inside, or he's gotten more reps inside here, and you see the same thing. He's very smart. He doesn't make the same mistake twice, and he's a guy I'm excited to see once we get these pads on.
That you mentioned on a prior day that he may be a little too loud in practice. You can hear him on the opposite side of the ball. Speaking of Fred, how has he been able to digest Robert Saleh's defensive playbook? Do you think have you seen any hiccups from him on the field?
No, that's what's been so impressive. And he was so loud because he was so confident. He just knew it very well. And for a guy who wasn't in charge of calling it in college, and that's his first time to do it, for him to come out there and be that confident with it, it means he understands it. It means he gets it, and it's shown in how he's playing.
that you have for your team in the next 5 weeks? I know you don't want guys to get out of shape or anything, but just to make sure that everybody leaves and then comes back to training camp.
Just how big of a deal it is. I went through it last year, and the more you're in the NFL, the more you see it. It always happens to a bunch of guys, but we had 90 guys work as hard as they could for these past 2 months or whatever it is, and now they're going to still work, but we're not going to be around them for a month. And most guys are fine, but there's always that small percent that hasn't been scarred, that thinks they can just relax and rest and be ready for training camp. And what those people don't realize is you come to training camp thinking you're going to get in shape in training camp. You usually pull a hamstring in the first couple of days, then you're out for 3 weeks, then you come in for the last preseason game, you don't totally feel right, then you either don't make the team, you don't make practice squad, or you make it because of your history, but you don't look like the same in week 1 because you haven't gone through it all. And it's a trickle-down effect throughout the whole year, and I can't express it any more than I will tomorrow when I talk to the guys, or we do all the time, that you can't recover if you take a month off. And if you don't come to training camp right, that will affect how you play in week 16.
The quarterbacks come with rookies and first-year guys a week before formal camp opens.
Yeah.
So they'll come July 25th? Is that the opening?
Yeah, I think we start on a Thursday. And so I know we'll all be back in there Monday. I'm not sure exactly what the dates are. Just wait till far in advance from me. But it's, I don't have them come back a week early. I haven't been with a team that I can remember that's done that. I know that was always the case when I was younger, because I would always be pissed I had to go up as a ball boy to Rockland a week early just for the rookies and be up there 5 weeks or whatever it was. But I think we get enough time in. The rookie year is different for rookies. It's long. They hit a rookie wall. They're not used to it. No matter what you tell them, I'm not trying to get them to make that even longer for them. Yeah,
So,
no. Yeah.
Pro day, kind of family day yesterday.
I was a little tempted. I'm still considering it, so maybe you guys should show up tomorrow. What's that? Yeah, he hurt his calf. We're not going to play him today. MRI and everything, he came back all right, but I think a calf strain would be the right word, and it doesn't sound like we have any concerns for training camp. Thanks, guys.